but I think we'll be okay. Okay. This hand is holding me on center. See how my hands are over, my left hand is over my right for steadiness, and just my index finger goes down. Try not to go too far down here, because A, it's a bowl, and we're going to want to cut a foot, and we want this to be the bottom. We want to have a nice curve like this on the bottom, even if it's low. Also, when you pull out, especially on something this big, the tendency is to go down. Instead of going straight across, the tendency is to pull down, and then you'll be, if you're not high up here, you'll hit the bat, and you won't have a bottom. So I'm going to start pulling out. And you don't want this. So when this starts to happen, this thing that rises up, press it back down and in. Get rid of all that schmutzy stuff. I always press this back in because this is going to be the rim, and you'll have a weak spot if you don't get this part to go back in right here. Take your sponge and go back into the inside. You'll make a little pot. Hi, Sue. And you just get rid of it. There we go.
You just like trim the inside.
Yeah, you just kind of go like this, and it goes away. Usually there's an air bubble right here.
Okay.
Almost always with something big.
You got rid of it.
Yeah, we hope. We hope that by doing that I got rid of it. It's still spinning around a little bit off center, so it's probably under there. When I turn it over to trim it, I'll find it. So I like to set the bottom right now. I wish Maggie were here, because this is the part that she didn't quite, that we were trying to talk about, that I like to set this and have it be the curve that I want now. So it's curvy rather than cylindery. Just got a low bowl. I still have this on the side. It's kind of bothering me. So make that one happy thing. And now I'm ready for my first pull. I use my knuckle for the first pull, but guys, notice my hands, how close they are together. The thing about this wheel, it's easy to go too fast because it doesn't make any noise. So it's really easy to like go way too fast. So bowls should be slow. Once you get to making the pull, you should slow down. It's hard to do. So I'm going to come up but not in. And the rule with anything that you make that goes out is that you go in first to get the clay up. So that was pull number 1. And pull number 2, I'm just going to cut off the schmutz so my hands have a place to hang out. Always trying to connect my hands. Push in. But I'm not trying to get too terribly high. I'm going to need all this stuff underneath to support the bowl because it's going to go out more than this. I'm just setting it up right now. And then ease up pressure right here. Get rid of this stuff and go back to where you started. Ease up pressure because I actually want it to be fairly thick. Like I said, this clay is really, really soft. So if it gets too thin, it's going to get really wobbly. And compress when you get to the top. Compression is running it through your fingers like this, pressing down. Left hand and right hand. Really make that top strong because it's going to get thinner as we go out. So last pull. Come on, a little bit from the inside too. See that little bit of off-centeredness, right, guys? It's okay. You can handle it. And then very little pressure. This was that weak spot I was talking about, right there. So now we've got the beginning of a bowl. It's kind of like a high cylinder object, but it won't be in a minute. But first I have to compress, take all this, I won't say schmutz, take all this stuff off the outside. And there's a lot on the inside, so.
What if you felt that it was too thick?
Where?
Sort of at the bottom. What would you do?
I would probably pull up again. But usually with a bowl, you want to leave a lot on the bottom, because if you make it too thin, it's going to collapse. So I wouldn't worry about it being kind of thick on the bottom for a bowl. You do want to be efficient with your clay, and eventually you want to be able to throw like tall, beautiful bowls. But for something kind of low, you need to leave a ton of clay at the bottom.
And
See
you're
how-
widening it now.
Yep.
You want to.
You want to do the widening and the shaping at the end, because if you did this in the beginning, you have no you'd have no support for it. You wouldn't be able to get anything to come up. So I use my left hand on the inside, slow down, slowly bring this out to where we want it.
Starting to look a little wobbly like
Because it was off center in the beginning.
and that still didn't do damage.
It was a little bit off center. I don't know. Like a little bit. And then when you go out, it gets more and more pronounced.
Mhm.
I find that anytime I shape anything, it gets more and more pronounced, any kind of off-centered. But this is not so off-centered that it's like, I don't know, it doesn't feel wrong to me, this kind of, it just doesn't. I don't know how to explain the difference between something like
Like what we did.
something wobbling so far off center that it's going to die, and something just having a little bit of a,
Functioning dysfunction.
or maybe it's my lack of OCD-ness, like it just doesn't bother me. It's just like I don't see it showing anywhere else.
But it doesn't impact your bowls.
No, it doesn't.
Because it's pretty much centered.
Because it is more or less centered. I'm just like, this has a little tiny, it's not like what? It's not like it's falling down or one side is really taller than the other, or I don't know, I think it almost like it's a little more lively if it's not perfect. That tends to, or I have like a little bit of short-sightedness in terms of what I do. I always think it's fine. I don't know.
Because it is.